Hello there, lovelies. This is Renelle Fink, and this is the Pen to the Paper podcast. What I am bringing to you every week is tips, tricks, and life lessons to help level up your writing game. Are you struggling to finish that novel? Are you trying to start a freelance career, but you just don't know how? Or do you just want to write every day? Let me help you put your pen to the paper. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Are you surprised to hear my voice after nearly 2 months? Because I am surprised. This is Renelle with Pen to the Paper. And yes, I have been gone for it's been a month and a half, actually. It's almost been 2 months. I just saw that my last podcast was on January 6th. And I'm like, oh shit, that's a long time. And you're probably wondering, well, where have I been? What have I been up to? I am definitely going to get into that. And thank you so much for still being a listener. Thank you so much for being patient with me. I totally appreciate it. So before I get into all that, I would totally appreciate it if you left a review on any of the listening platforms that you are on for Pen to the Paper podcast. I'm on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Podcast. I'm, just trying to be everywhere. But so I'm just going to dive right in to why I've been MIA. So like I said, the last podcast that I did was the last one that I posted. Now this is an interesting thing. The last one I posted was January 6th. If you've been living under a rock, I don't know, but you know what happened on January 6th in the US. If not, basically people stormed the Capitol and tried to stage a coup. And it's so crazy because it's only been like not even a couple of months. It feels far away, but it's still just like it happened this year. It's just so crazy how this year is still kind of unfolding. So when I posted this on the 6th, I didn't record it on the 6th. I think I recorded it, I think probably January 3rd. So I probably recorded it on a Sunday and then it gets put out on every Wednesday. And so from January 6th up until probably now that I'm recording it, I've had to watch as our country just, I don't know what the fuck happened, to be honest. I mean, I know, but it's just still, you don't think it would happen. And like different events that occur in different generations and things like that. You don't think during your time, this is not going to happen. Nothing crazy is going to happen. But no, this was probably a long time coming. But still, to watch it unfold and to watch the aftermath and to wonder with everything happening within that. And basically, my anxiety level just decided to go turn up to like 1,000,000. And because, like I said, this is some shit I've never seen before. And the last time this happened was like in the 1800s. I mean, what? So my thing is, I get anything like that is a big impact beyond my world that can affect my world. I get anxiety because then all I can do is just like watch the news. And even though I was trying to watch less, it still was just everywhere. If I go on Twitter, people were talking about it or whatever. And, you couldn't help it. It was just every fucking where. And so when I do that, I shut down because I can't write. For people who are really good at managing their anxiety and be able to write, that is so awesome. Or even using usually I can use writing to deal with, like, to go with, if I'm having like problems or something, but like my anxiety, that crippling feeling of something's happening and I can't do anything to solve it. Like, it's just so, it's a weird feeling to feel like shit's hitting the fan and you can't clean it. You can't do anything. The same thing happened when the pandemic hit. I was going, and then when it hit in March, when we had to shut down, I didn't write for a couple of months, actually. It was like mid-March. I didn't write again till like, I think it was early July, mid-July. So you can imagine like when things happen like in the world, that anxiety can hit. I just stopped. I didn't have the desire to write because I was thinking at the time that what I would say would make no difference because there was bigger megaphones going off. There were bigger things happening that I just felt, well, I can take my time and push my shit back. And sometimes it's good. You need to breathe and stuff like that if things are happening in the world. But then sometimes it's like, oh, maybe not. So if you ever have anxiety, if you're dealing with it now, because we're still in a wonderful pandemic, because yay. But if you're still feeling like anxious and frustrated with how the world's going, that's a huge factor in like how I think we as writers, like how we deal with things. And most writers are in their own little world. They're really introverted. They're really into their creativity. So writing is our outlet for the anxiety or whatever that we're dealing with in the world. So when the anxiety feels like it's coming in and we can't really stop it with writing because we just kind of feel like, will it really help? Because it was like kind of ongoing. It was like day after day after the riots happened that it obviously just kept going. And so I just felt like nothing I could do writing wise would make it go away. And, and it just hit. And I think with the pandemic, I'm a little bit easier with able to write because I know, like, I remember when it first happened, you obviously don't know what's happening. You don't know if you're going to live, if you're going to die. And yes, people I know died. My friends that know people die. Like, they've had people die. So we've all, like, gone through this. And I've had people that I know that had COVID. And people that I know, they know people that have COVID. So, but I think what's getting me through this is honestly, it is like the vaccine, because there's that hope. I think when the storming the Capitol, when it happened, I felt no hope. And so if I feel no hope, I don't feel like putting my work out there. And I also don't even feel like jotting my thoughts down, because I just be like, like, is there really a point or whatever? And so I kind of just got lost for a while and just kind of just let everything just wash over me. And I know if you're not like a big fan of Mercury retrograde, that is cool. But I've been into astrology and been doing tarot reading. And I've really understand like how the planets align and, how if they're this way and that way, that it can make a big impact on what you do in life. And, I think all of a sudden it was it was January 30th. So just when I was kind of like going through the motions and the inauguration, I was okay. And then, Mercury retrograde hit from January 30th. It finally ended February 20th. So 3 weeks, I also felt even more off, which, like I said, it's so, if I can't manage my frustration, anxiety by writing, if I just feel, because with Mercury retrograde, it feels like your communication is just thrown. So yeah, I felt like my communication was thrown. I mean, shit, that's how I felt. But I did kind of reevaluate my communication. So there was a blessing in disguise, but that's pretty much why I have been gone. Like my anxiety and frustration just hit me. So, anyways, what brought me back was during Mercury retrograde. I kind of took time to really reevaluate my website. I reevaluate pen to the paper, and I kind of noticed something. I kind of went away from its purpose. When I created this website, I wanted it to be a place to help people develop really solid writing habits. And the way to do that is to like find what works for you and how to like find a schedule that works for you. Find a place to write that works for you. And then finally, how to break through when you get stuck with fears of writing and self-doubt to continue to keep your habit going. And I've always felt that writing is such a powerful tool to navigate our lives. I've always felt that writing was a key. I honestly think writing can help just like heal wounds and get through and have us get through things. So, and I figured that there are people who might want to express their feelings and they just don't know how, or just take time to really dig in through their day just to check in how they feel. And I feel a daily, like a writing habit. And I don't want to say daily because it depends on your schedule. I always wanted it to be, depends on your schedule, where it's consistent. A habit is something that you do consistently. So it could be once or twice a week. But that's consistent. You're doing it. It's something that, a habit is something that you look forward to doing that, it just comes naturally to you. So I want to help people build that up. And I was just noticing as I was going through my site, I didn't really have that stated clearly. And then I started reading this great book, Start With Why, by Simon Sinek. That's the name. I feel really bad because I took it back to to the library the other day. Yeah, Simon Sinek. It's so weird. I took it back. I'm like, I should remember this because I write things down. But it was mainly just basically just understanding. It was for business, like understanding your why, like why companies should have that. Like how great leaders inspire, and like how organizations can be better, can really make a difference and really get people on their side. But I kind of think it could be applied to anything in your life. So anyway, so I was reading this and it was always just going back to the why. What makes me get up every day and write? What makes me want to do? What makes me want to write a book? What makes me want to freelance on the side? What makes me want to do shit with pen to the paper? And as I was going through it, I'm just going through my website. I'm like, there's no real clear purpose of the why. And then my what was very scattered everywhere. So the past 3 weeks, I kind of just went through my website and just like took stock of what I wanted to keep and then what I wasn't working. And I like kind of took stock into my own writing habits. I was like, I'm going to do this on Monday with the blog. I was going to do this on Tuesday. And it's like, no, because I don't really have the time in my schedule to do this because I work like the first half of the week. So I knew Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays were those days that's where I get the shit done. And once I cemented a habit, that really helped. And then once I cemented back to my why, once I got back into why I do this, like what is the purpose of pen to the paper, then it really got me going like, okay, the content that I put out and the things that I put out can really be a why I want to help people write. And then I took stock in my social media because this is also another what. And I was just looking, I'm just like, what is serving me? What is really going to help me get my message of why out? And I'm a Libra, so I'm super indecisive, but I was like, I should do this, 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 and this. And it's like, no, I need to focus with like one thing. So I decided to pull my resources out and only focus on like with social media, just like on Instagram. I do have the other ones, but with Instagram, I'm also able to just automatically publish out to the other channels on my Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. But I just had to look and just go, what do I want to do? Like what is feasible? And so I created like that, what I want to post for social media for mainly Instagram. And now that I know my why, now I know what content to post, that I want to post out. And the what with the content is basically what am I putting out? So on Pen to the Paper, I used to do a blog post, and I also used to do blog and podcast. Like I would write a blog, like 1,000-word blog. And then I do the podcast and also write the show notes and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? Is the same thing. like, wait a minute. Like, it's the same thing. It makes no sense. So I'm like, if the blog and the pod are the same, keep it simple. That was another thing. I had to take stock of keep it simple. What works for me? And that basically was just like, okay, well, let me make a simple one piece of content each week. But it goes out and it's like a tree. So you plant that one seed and then it branches out, then the branches go everywhere. So like one piece of topic and then just kind of just take it to, okay, I do the podcast, but then I just do a little recap on the blog. So you can read the blog, but not like I don't do a whole 1,000 words. I'm just recapping if you didn't hear the podcast. If you're just like, if you're just basically like, okay, I just want to just read a little snippet, then, that's good. So I do that. So I do the podcast and I do a little snippet. And then, then I can spread it out a little bit better, because then it's just taking pieces of the podcast and just putting it out everywhere. So basically, I just don't have to think much when I'm creating content. It's just like create one thing and then just spread it out. So that's what during this Mercury retrograde, that's what I did. I really took stock of what I really wanted the why, of Pens to the Paper, and just really remix shit. And so I feel so much better just by doing that. So I feel like I'm like back on track with that, and it's good. Now I just feel like I want to like continue. Now I'm like, now I have this shit set up. I'm like excited again to get back on track to put out content for Pen to the Paper. And so that's another thing I just want to just point out, that, you can take time to step back from shit. Like, even if there wasn't a pandemic and you're just like, you kind of just feel like maybe things aren't working for me, it's okay to step back from what you're working towards in your writing goals. Whether it's like you just need a break, just you said personally, or it's just like forced, like, like you're seeing shit on the news and you just don't know what to do. So, so just, that's okay, because then it just helps you to see how can you simplify things in life. And so if you're looking at your writing goals, and maybe they might be too much. Maybe you might have tried to be ambitious and you're like, well, let me pull this back. Instead of giving up on it, like step back and go, well, maybe it's good. Maybe it's okay, but what can I do to shift to where it has me, is better for me mentally. And that could help you get you back on track, because as we all do every January, we're like, Happy New Year, and we're all like, let's do this, let's have these goals, let's have that, blah 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 blah. The goals are great, but generally once you get into like February, things just slip. We all know that when people join a gym, that January everyone's packed. By February, the gyms are like sparse. And yes, this is before COVID. I get that. Even in the ones that, like, when they open and you have masks on and stuff like that, okay, sure, in January they're usually like packed and it's hard to get in. Then February, there's not that many people there, and it's just like, oh. So and the thing is, it's just we set these ambitious goals, but yeah, we do like lose steam, and that's okay, because it's like cars. If you keep driving, you have the gas tank full, and if you don't stop at times to fill up, you're gonna get gassed out. So that's what I just want you to just look at if you did have writing goals in January and you felt really great about it, and you're just like, oh shit, it's February and I kind of just slowed down, or I stopped and it just wasn't really working. Just know that it's okay to kind of step back and just, look at what's working. Like, go back to that goal and kind of see how you, like, evaluate it, see how you started, and then kind of see what happened when you were dropped off. Maybe you're trying to write a chapter a day, but then you were noticing that, say, a few days, it was like with work, you were working overtime, whatever, you were exhausted. And then kind of evaluate, well, maybe I need to make it more of what works for me. Maybe I can write on the weekends because I don't work, and then just try to write, maybe a chapter. Like, be gentle with yourself and just say maybe a chapter on the weekend. But I just don't want you to give up on your writing goals just because you falter. Because we all do. Like, it's just a matter of, can we get back? Can we reevaluate? Can we look at what's working and what's not working and tweak it? So then, sure, it might take a little bit longer to get to that goal, but we can still get to it, and we can get to it like much more happier because we've done that tweaking and all that. So I just encourage you, if you feel like you can't get back onto whatever it is, just take that time to see what was working, what wasn't, and then, fix it. And then I bet you it will just help you get back going. So I hope that really encouraged you guys today, and just thank you for still sticking with me, probably waiting for me to put out another podcast. And like I said, if you are curious about the pen to the paper, you could definitely go to the website. Not only did I revamp it, I also added a start here. So if you go to pentothepaper.com, you click on the start here, and it kind of just show you how to navigate the website. And it's just great. It's, I just realized, I kind of needed to do that. I don't know why I didn't do this in the first place, but just kind of a map of like what steps you could take to get through pen to the paper. So I have like the top post. First I have sign up, and then I say, if you're interested in my products, that's another thing. I have a products page. I have 2 short courses that you could do in a day, and they're all under the pentothepaper.com/products. But once you hit that start here, you could just see how to navigate this website. And if you do, you could shoot me some feedback. Like, how does it look? How does it look on your mobile phone? How does it look on your laptop, your tablet? Does it seem like it flows well? Does it seem like it could be worked a little bit better? I would totally love to know. And just shoot me. You can shoot me on social media. Instagram is Pen to the Paper 81. Twitter is Pen to the Paper. Just go ahead and just like, hey, I totally like the site, or hey, do you think you'll add this or maybe take away this, blah, 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 blah. I would totally love to hear your feedback. And if you enjoy this podcast, please share it like all over. And if you have any questions or comments, anything like that, share it online. I have the hashtag PTTP podcast, all one word. And I have this in the show notes, but I just love to hear your feedback. Just let me know what I can do to just help you become fucking awesome writers. And also, I'm very excited. I'm going to look at more for guest hosts. Guest. I'm like, duh. What am I trying to say? But like I said, thank you so much for listening, sticking with me. And as always, you keep your pen to the paper. Hey there. Thank you so very much for listening to this episode of the Pen to the Paper podcast. You can catch me on any listening platform that you desire, from Spotify to SoundCloud to iTunes and even much more. And if you want tons of free resources to level up your writing game, check out the website pentothepaper.com. Take care. Bye.